All right. So I'm currently recording part 2 at 1 in the morning, and I still haven't even uploaded the first part of this series yet, but I am honestly excited to record the second part. So I got up and decided, you know what, I can't sleep, I might as well record. And seeing as I haven't even seen the feedback for the first part, I just want to say really quick, if you guys for whatever reason enjoyed the first part and didn't like the video, make sure to go back to that first part and like it up, seeing as it helps a ton with YouTube's algorithm. That said though, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys going to enjoy part 2.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Immediately after this, Zabuza would swing his sword towards the direction of Naruto, who immediately would parry with his scythe. He catches it, and he would then proceed to swing it up into the air, pretty much causing Zabuza to have his blade swung away from him. It's at this moment that Naruto was about to go in for the kill and simply take Zabuza's soul, but out of nowhere, an ice barrier would be formed right before him, and none other than Haku would stand before him saying, "Don't touch my master, your battle's with me now." Naruto would think, that's one interesting ability. I can't wait to be the one who uses it. As from here, Naruto would smile, and he would then begin to pretty much begin taking energy or chakra away from the Nine Tails, as he would then power himself up with his eyes changing to more of a purplish reddish aura, and Naruto would look at Haku with an ominous smile on his face as he would say, "Now you're gonna face the Death God," as he would spin the scythe in his hands a bunch of times like in a really cool way, and then rush in with the scythe, as Haku would use his ice crystal jutsu, and as soon as the ice mirrors are formed, Naruto would simply think, this is going to be easy to counter, as Naruto would weave a bunch of hand signs, and out of nowhere he would create earth pillars that have like sharp spikes at the end of them. So the next time that Haku would teleport through one of his portals, I'm ripping this page out of your book, by the way, that one, weeb, he would pretty much proceed to get pierced by the earth itself, as Haku would simply stay there and cough out blood, being like, and Naruto would have a smile on his face saying, "Did you really think that a jutsu as weak as this was going to be touching someone like me?" He would go over to Haku, as he would then proceed to say, "You know, I'm part Shinigami," as Haku's eyes would widen and Naruto would say, "But you didn't need to know that, did you?" He would then proceed to go on to essentially like rip Haku's soul from his body, as after doing this, Naruto, like I said before, every time that he does this to a shinobi, he would gain their powers and their fighting experience. So now Naruto wields an ice Genkai. And so once he's done with that, and Zabuza at this moment would have been fighting Kakashi, Naruto would step out, as from his hands, he would simply look at them as he thinks to himself, "This is quite impressive. Seems to me you didn't know how to use this ability." He stomps one foot on the floor as the entire area would be covered with ice, and he would then look at Kakashi before saying, "It's my turn to finish this battle." As from here, Naruto would proceed to say, "I always have wanted to dual wield," as out of nowhere from his other hand, he would create a scythe of ice that literally mirrors the one that he's holding, as he would rush in and proceed to slice Zabuza's head clean off from each side individually. Zabuza's head falls clean off of his shoulders, as Naruto just simply says, "Pathetic." And from here, he goes over towards Zabuza, as you know, he holds his hand out, and out of nowhere, you could just see Zabuza's soul quite literally turn physical, as it shoots into Naruto's mouth, and Naruto would look down before then rising up and saying, "Now that's a powerful shinobi." And from here, Kakashi as well as Team 7 would be utterly shocked, thinking to themselves, "What is he?" Naruto would then turn to the team before saying, "Come on, let's go." And in case you guys are wondering what Naruto's drip is, he essentially always rocks a black cloak, like hoodie, and some black shinobi track pants, and like some, I don't know, just a normal shinobi outfit, just all black. Like it just looks really cool basically. That said, Naruto, following this, would proceed to take Tazuna home, where for the following week and a half, seeing as Zabuza is not going to be a threat whatsoever, they pretty much just end up being sitting ducks until Tazuna eventually notices one of Gato's ships getting closer and closer. And when they would set dock upon the area, Naruto would ask if it's okay if he handles it, with Kakashi saying why not. Naruto from here proceeds to essentially jump off of the very edge of the bridge and land in the middle of the boat carrying all of Gato's men. As soon as he does this, he smiles and says, "Let's dance," as a massacre would begin and Naruto would begin slicing people left and right, absorbing souls, as many souls as he could possibly take in on that one day. And after, he would arrive in front of Gato before saying, "Yours isn't even worth stealing. You deserve a fate far worse than death." As from here, Naruto would open and close his eyes, a bunch of times, and out of nowhere his pupils would like turn to that of the color of the Shinigami that's part of him, and the Shinigami would absorb him into him, literally not letting him go anywhere. Like he's now trapped in the same way that Minato is for doing the seal, is the same way that Gato will now be trapped forever inside of the Shinigami's belly. And from here, what ends up happening is the ship would finally land near the dock and Naruto would say, "So, you guys now have a ship?" With him pretty much saying that their mission is over for now. He took out the main threat as well as the thugs that were going to come after him. He thinks that that's more than enough. Tazuna would nod his head, thanking him so much, saying that the bridge will be named the Great Naruto Bridge. And Naruto would say, "Thanks." As from here, the entire Team 7 would return back to the Leaf Village. Now, when they do arrive to the Leaf Village, what ends up happening is essentially Naruto and every single person in the team would go to meet Hiruzen, and they would all pretty much get a briefing, with Kakashi staying back to explain a couple of things to Hiruzen. Hiruzen, after hearing the shocking revelation, would think to himself, "What? Souls? Naruto takes souls? What kind of jutsu is that?" With Kakashi saying, "I don't know if it is a jutsu. It's so strange. It's something we've never seen before. I don't understand it." Hiruzen would look down and say, "I see." And from here, we switch our perspectives back to Naruto, who was walking by a street by himself. And suddenly, we cut to him seeing Kankuro holding Konohamaru up by the throat, saying, "You got some kind of death wish, kid?" Naruto, hearing the word death wish, would say, "Who has a death wish?" As he would turn to the direction of Kankuro, and Kankuro would say, "Butt out of this, kid. This doesn't concern you." However, Naruto, hearing this sort of disrespect come from Kankuro, would think, "You're messing with the wrong guy." As he blatantly appears in front of Konohamaru and he appears in front of Kankuro and quite literally throws Konohamaru out of the way, before then proceeding to pierce Konohamaru with a small knife that he was able to manifest out of nowhere. The same knife that the Shinigami holds in its mouth. And Naruto would pierce it straight into his lung, as, you know, Kankuro was like, "What?" And he can't breathe. You know what I mean? Like his lung legit just got pierced. And so Naruto would then look towards the direction of Temari, who's getting ready to wage an attack on him. But Naruto holds one hand up and says, "Die." And from here, Temari's soul quite literally is stuck in a state where she can't move. And Kankuro is frozen in fear, saying, "Spare me. I'm sorry. Gaara." But before he could even finish that sentence, Naruto would rip the soul out of Kankuro's body with Gaara watching. And here, he would then go on to walk in front of Temari, as he would say, "You're next, sweetheart." And he would rip her soul straight out of her, with Temari being like, "What? no, no. But she could only think that. She couldn't speak. Seeing all this happen in front of him, Gaara's eyes widened as he would say, "Death! I must kill him! Death! Death!" And he would rush down, teleporting in front of him with his sand. As Naruto sees this, he says, "You seem pretty powerful yourself. Looks like I'm going to be taking more than just one soul. Inside of you resides two. The soul of the first of the one-tailed Jinchuriki, and yours. This is going to be very fun." From here, Naruto would say, I say I use one of his moves. As from here, Naruto would slam one hand onto the ground as he says, "Ice Crystal Mirror Jutsu." And from here, he plunges his body into one of the mirrors, going inside of it with Gaara being shocked, being like, "Where did he go?" Him being in a bloodless state would just begin shooting his ice at the mirrors, trying to break them, but nothing. Naruto would then begin shooting around in the ice, as he would begin throwing ice sandbombs straight at the direction of Gaara. With Gaara's sand not being able to stop it, it begins penetrating Gaara, and when Gaara sees his own blood, he says, "My blood!" With him freaking out, because it's like the man just saw his own blood spurt out of everywhere. Every single corner of his body is pretty much spewing out blood. Suddenly, Gaara's pupils dilate, and it's revealed to be the Eye of Shukaku, as he would begin his partial transformation. But Naruto's not letting this slide. He's not just about to let Gaara become powerful. Instead, Naruto would jump out of one of the crystal ice mirrors before saying, "Die!" And he would pretty much proceed to go slice at Gaara's neck, but Gaara's arm, which is made out of sand, would block it and say, "Get away!" As he smashes Naruto straight out of the ice portal, saying, "I'll kill you." And from here, a huge amount of sand would go towards the direction of Naruto, beginning to surround him as Gaara would say, "Sand cop!" But before he can finish that sentence, Naruto would snap into the state of the Shinigami himself, as he would snap out of that and say, "He's still not ready to take even someone like you out? Pathetic." With him then proceeding to blitz in front of Gaara and say, "You're done." And from here, he would proceed to quite literally just suck this man's soul straight out, getting face to face with Gaara and breathing in, just literally going as Gaara's soul travels from his own body to Naruto's. Naruto would snap back out of it as he would say, "Thanks, but I had that," with the Shinigami saying, "No, he didn't." And from here, Naruto would walk off, leaving Kankuro, Temari, and Gaara's bodies dead on the floor. The Sand Village would end up finding out about this a couple of weeks later, and after this happens, the Hidden Sand Village pretty much ends up losing it. They want to now actively declare war on the Hidden Leaf Village, and Naruto, being the pretty much pure reason this happened, is honestly all for it. The souls of half of the Leaf Village, all of the shinobi from the Sand Village, that sounds amazing. Naruto would begin to say that they attacked him first, making up this false narrative about the Hidden Sand Village brothers. And so they end up having to actually meet up with Hiruzen and the 4th Kazekage meeting up, with them all kind of being like, "Okay, so look, we'll do this if you guys do that." And what ends up happening is that the 4th Kazekage would end up saying that this is unacceptable. This is not about to just happen like this. And so what ends up happening is Hiruzen is actually told that in order for them to forgive them, he has to actively give Naruto, the one responsible for killing those shinobi from his village, to him, for him to personally torture and then kill. And Hiruzen, he has his hands tied. He either lets Naruto die, or a bunch of civilians will suffer and many casualties will be had. We've seen the choices that Hiruzen is willing to make when it comes to the Uchiha clan, so this is no surprise to me that he ends up choosing the lives of all of them over Naruto's. One night, Hiruzen ends up going to Naruto's place and telling him how things are. Naruto just turns himself in, saying that he'll accept punishment. And from here, what ends up happening is Naruto would be put before the Kazekage, as he smiles and says, "We're even now." And from here, he would proceed to pretty much go through with so many horrible acts of torture to Naruto, making him not let out a single peep. No noise, no crying, no screaming, nothing. Naruto doesn't care. He's feeding off of this negativity, if anything. Naruto was loving this. But eventually, the fun would end, and Naruto would snap out of the restrainments before looking towards the direction of the fourth Kazekage, saying, "You know, I killed your son quite easily. And you're not going to be any different." Before then blitzing towards the direction of the Kazekage and pretty much proceeding to use his abilities to blitz at him and hit him straight through the wall. They would land on top of buildings as Naruto would stand right in front of him and he would say, "You die now." As from here, he begins to pretty much use a bunch of hand signs and creates like 50 shadow clones of himself to all rush in and wield the scythe. The Kazekage would use his sand to pretty much hit them all away, causing them to poof away, but that gave Naruto more than enough time to try out one of his new jutsus. He throws a small knife that he had used against Kankuro, and it would appear right beside Kazekage as he would say, "You missed, brat." But Naruto would say, "Did I?" as he appears behind him and cuts the throat of the Kazekage straight in, like straight into it. And from here, he falls straight onto his knees. I believe it's Rasa, the father of Gaara. Correct me if I'm mistaken, guys, but I believe that's the one that he kills. And so Naruto, he then just pretty much watches as he bleeds out and says, like he can't say anything, but he's trying to say, "How?" Naruto would simply watch as he then goes down to his level and says, "I took your son's soul. I took your ninja's soul. And now I'm taking your soul." As he would then go on to put his hand on him and once again go as his soul is transferred into his body, as well as all of his combat experience. Naruto is getting stronger by the day, and it's only getting easier and easier for him. Naruto at this point, if he truly wanted to, could even access the powers of Shukaku himself, because that's another soul that Naruto has access to. The powers of the One Tails. It's more than enough chakra to power him up a whole bunch. And Naruto, let's just say he's not playing any games. A couple of days would go by and the Chunin exams would begin, with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura taking place in them. Sakura would begin to ask, what they're going to be doing. And after Naruto killed the Kazekage of the Sand Village, Orochimaru actually ended up stepping in and faking as if, he was the Kazekage, because he was able to witness the entire battle and everything. So he just swooped in and acted like he was the Kazekage, and he took care of that kid making up some random lie. And so now the Leaf Village and the Sand Village are on shaky terms, but the Sand Village doesn't have anybody there to represent them other than some random background shinobi. So in terms of what happens next, it's not really too worth covering. So instead, I'm just going to be talking about how Lee challenges Sasuke, he gets folded, and then they end up taking the test and going outside with Anko, where she begins to say that now they're going to be doing the portion where they're going through the Forest of Death. How could I forget that? Yeah, the Forest of Death. Everybody is getting pretty excited, saying that this is about to be a lot of fun. And Anko, hearing this, would say, "Fun?" She throws a kunai at the people saying that and says that your lives are on the line. As she smiles and hands out waivers saying that they need to sign this to participate, saying that many of them, they will die. But that's a sacrifice they're willing to make. And from here, all of the teams would disperse within the forest, with Naruto saying, "I gotta go take a leak. Watch out for Sakura, Sasuke. We don't want her dying too soon." With him then proceeding to go off, take a leak, and no code was actually given this time because Sasuke doesn't even think of Naruto as a dope. He just genuinely gets the freaks from Naruto. He is genuinely terrified of him. He gives him that same aura of death that Itachi gave him the night of the incident. And that's something that terrifies Sasuke to his core. He doesn't want to mess with Naruto in any way, shape, or form, and so he simply just does what he's told. Eventually, Orochimaru arrives, and everything that happens like canon ends up going down. Except this time, when the snake appears, Naruto was able to jump over it and then come down with his fist, smashing it right down at the snake's head, saying, "You know, it's not fun to try to eat people where they're trying to do their business." With the snake legit laying there with its head crushed, Naruto would then appear as he would see Orochimaru about to pretty much bite or kiss Sasuke's neck, but Naruto comes in with a swooping kick, deflecting it, being like, "Hey yo, what are you trying to do? You trying to kiss my man's neck?" No, I'm just playing, but he would kick Orochimaru's neck, and Orochimaru would retract his neck back as he would say, "Damn kid, that hurt." From here, he would say, "It's you. You killed the 4th Kazekage. You know, I have to thank you." With Naruto saying, "What's there to thank, you creepy old geezer?" With Orochimaru saying, "Oh, trust me, you'll understand in due time." As from here, he takes off the mask, revealing to be Orochimaru himself. And Naruto would say, "You know, I've read about you somewhere. You're Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin. It's gonna be fun tearing you a new one." Taking your soul, that's gonna be the biggest catch I've gotten yet. Like for part 3.